Hello everybody and welcome to In My Mug, episode 147 on Monday the 5th of September 2011. My name is Steve Layton and this week I'm very pleased and very excited to be here in the new roastery, in my new office, but the same old reliable In My Mug. So yeah, no changes there apart from the location. So thank you very much for the warm wishes on the move. You are all lovely people. We've kind of been a bit overwhelmed with the kind words and just how everybody's been so nice, and so much so somebody actually made us a cake, and I'm going to show you a better picture of this now. But this was made for us by Anne, Bowen and Ray, her husband, and they dropped it off with us last week. These beans are amazing, individually crafted, just too good to eat when you look at it. I'm going to steal a bean. But it's just amazing. I mean, it's got things like Malawi, Bolivia, Brazil. Just gorgeous. While we're on the fact that it has moved, the move went as well as we could have hoped. The roasters are in. I don't know whether you can actually see them behind, but they're there. Thank you to Andy, my roaster, Nicola, my sister-in-law, but also works with us as well, and Mrs. Has-Been for making it all happen. We all ran through brick walls to make this happen, and we roasted here on Tuesday after the bank holiday, which is stunning. And while I talk about Mrs. Has-Been, thank you for the lovely wedding anniversary wishes, very much appreciated. The comments have been really going well the past few weeks, so thank you for commenting as well. It means a lot to me, it really does, so thank you. Enough thank yous. Let's get on to talking about coffee. This week's coffee is another of our direct trade coffees that we've introduced again this year, so another brand new one. And it's been a bit of a manic year for these coffees this year. We've really stepped up to go to the next stage of coffee buying, have more control over what we do, how we do. And this is another one that we brought in with the Limoncillo. So you remember that we had the Escondida a few weeks back from the Moresh family. And this is one Erwin put together that he thought I would really like. So when we decided we were going to move the container, this was the coffee we went for. So the farm is called Finca Los Miligros, and it's a tiny 3.5 hectare farm which borders the Cerro El Dablo Cloud Forest Natural Reserve, which is in Jiniga, which is near to Jinatenga. And this reserve has incredibly low cloud cover, so it means that the cherries mature incredibly slow. Slow maturation means, it doesn't always, but leads to interesting cups for me in my experience. But what also helps is when the temperatures are fairly consistent, and this whole setup there gives these perfect growing conditions for this amazing coffee that we're going to try. Again, a bit like Escondida, it's very difficult to get to the farm. There are no roads, it all has to be done on foot. A friend of ours who also buys coffee from Erwin, who's based in Canada, visited last year, and he told me what an amazing place they've got, how difficult it was to get to. It's a real trek apparently, but in beautiful climate. I think this coffee also placed in Cup of Excellence in 2007, if I recall correctly. Thinking it finished 15th. But it's kind of cool because this is the year that we first bought Limoncillo from Cup of Excellence in 2007 as well. So both of these coffees are very linked. So yeah. All of the cherries on the farm are milled there, fermented there, and it's proper underwater fermentation over 24 to 36 hours, and then all dried on raised Indian beds before transported to the lower parts to the other part of the mill for the final drying stages, which is in Jinatenga. So let's talk about some numbers. So the farm is called Finca Los Miligros. The varietal is 75% Caturra, 25% Cataí. The processing, as I've said, is fully washed, fully fermented, underwater, sun-dried on patios, and then finished down at the mill. The average altitude of the farm is around about 1,275 metres, I think. Farm is 3.5 hectares, I've already said, owned by the Moresh family, and in the region of Jinatenga. So, I don't think I can drink this one, can I? You should see the latte art on this, it's amazing. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I like my cake. I don't really want to eat it, but I think I might have to because it looks delicious. I'm going to whack you on pause. I'm going to go and make a brewed coffee. Because we've moved in, we don't have an espresso machine at the minute. This must be the longest I've gone without an espresso for I don't know how long. But yes, so I'm going to just have the brewed. Luckily, I do know this coffee quite well in espresso and in brewed, so as well as in brewed. So I will have to do from memory the milk and the espresso. But I'm going to whack you on pause. I'm going to go and make my brewed coffee, and I'll be back in just a moment. Right, so I'm back. No rush with the espresso today, so snoz are in the bowl. And you can smell on this what you're going to get in that. Butterscotch, you can smell it on there. It's a really strong aroma of butterscotch. The espresso starts off with this big butterscotch flavour, but then all of a sudden this fruitiness comes in. I mean, when we bought this coffee originally, I bought it with blending in mind, so basically to go in blends, because I thought it would really bring something along. But once it arrived, it just changed. It became this super complex cup. Instead of just being this sweet butterscotch flavour that was going on, there's plums, there's peaches, there's apricots, and really, really full espresso. One of the biggest shocks for me this year. In milk, I don't think it's as good in milk as it is as an espresso, because you don't get so much of that complexity of the fruit going on. You just get the sweet butterscotch, which it was originally bought to do, but within a blend. So, it does smell amazing, it really does. I'm going to use my new mug that I bought today. I went to Bath last night to a coffee shop called Colonus and Smalls, which have had a big opening party, and yeah, anyway, I was in Bath and I found a Plain Lazy shop, so expect to see lots of Plain Lazy t-shirts over the next few weeks. But I love this one, Make Tea Not War. So, but even though nobody buys me mugs anymore, I have to buy my own. I haven't had a gift mug for a long time. Hint, hint. Okay, so the apricot and the peaches are full on. They are singing in there. But you do get the sweetness. There's a sweetness there. This became super complex. It's crazy because, and it makes a farce of cupping them before they come, because this coffee was great before it came. It was even better once it was here. So, you know, it really did change. So numbers, farm's called Finca Los Miligros. Varietal is 75% Caturra, 25% Cataí. It's fully washed, submerged in water for 24 to 36 hours. Sun-dried on patios. Altitude of 1100 to 1400 metres. An average altitude of 1275. Farm is 3.5 hectares, owned by the Moresh family in Giatenga. And it's a pretty stonking cup of coffee. So, two things to tell you about before we finish. First, next week I'm going to be announcing how you can come to see the Live in My Mug 150 that we talked about a few weeks ago. I am doing it on the In My Mug because I want people that watch this to be able to be the ones who come first, not just somebody who sees it on the blog, because we're going to limit the numbers. I don't want to have too many people here because it can get too much, but I'm probably looking limited about 25, 30 people. So next week's In My Mug, as soon as it goes up, you need to watch it if you want to come to the open day, which is going to be in a couple of weeks' time. So next week, do watch that. And Hasblog, I've had a bit of an idea of something to do with Hasblog, which I will put up sometime this week. So do keep an eye out for Hasblog and updates on there. But it's an idea I've had for a long while, and now I've got this set up, I think I can do it then. So maybe you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, wise words make tea, not war, but you could also make coffee and not war. Thank you very much for joining me as always. And do remember, life is too short for bad coffee.